In the last lesson that we had, we were discussing about sentence 5 form, and we spoke about how sentence 5 can be written in this particular form: indefinite article, adjective, noun, be as auxiliary verb, and main verb. Main verb is nothing but a verb that can have an ing participle. For example, any verb that you can add ing. If you observe these words here, these are called primary auxiliary verb. Here we are using be as auxiliary verb, and this was is actually called, auxiliary verb, primary auxiliary verb. Here be, have, and do, all these three are actually called primary auxiliary verb. But under be again, be have different forms, and different forms of be are am, is, are, was, were, being, and been. Now these words can also act as main verb in the sense, for example, I can write a sentence like this: I am intelligent. So in here, the word am itself becomes the verb, because if you can observe here, there is no other verb in this particular sentence. So am itself becomes a verb. I'll take another example. Similarly, I can take example of are. They are good people. So if you can observe, this word itself acts as a verb in this case. So primary auxiliary verbs can work both as auxiliary verb, and they can also work as main verb. Now same case even with the words have and do. They are primary auxiliary verbs, but they can themselves become the main verbs as well. For example, I have a chocolate. So here have is the main verb. Similarly, we can also write sentences on do. Just think of some sentences where you do not have to use any other verb except for either the forms of be or have or do, and you do not need any main verb, as these words themselves act as main verb. Think of some of such sentences. Next, another interesting point about these words is that the words be and have, the words be and have are not followed by bare infinitive. If you remember what a bare infinitive is the purest form of verb, which means it does not have any tense. For example, to walk, to talk. So these are bare infinitives where there is no tense. And the words be and have are not followed by bare infinitive. For example, you cannot write words like have walk or be walk or am walk. For example, you can use something like am walking. The moment you add this ing, it is no longer a bare infinitive, because ing is ing participle. So if you are using ing form, it cannot be called a bare infinitive. So always remember, if you have a habit of writing am, is, are, was, were, being, or been, and after that if you are immediately using the word like this. You cannot write like this. It will be incorrect. The reason why I'm explaining this is because I have seen some students writing like this. I request you all to write some essays, and after you write the essays, check if you have been doing any of these mistakes, like using a bare infinitive after the form of be, or after using the word have, because if you're doing so, then it would be incorrect form of sentence formation. Now let us move ahead to the next structure. So this is called, so here is sentence 6. In this we have subject and then predicate, and then in the subject we have pronoun. And as I have mentioned earlier, pronoun is a word that we use instead of noun. So for the first time when we talk about someone or something, we use noun. But from the second time on, we tend to use pronoun. And the next here is verb. And in this case, verb is left. And then we have an object. She left. But who did she leave? She left him. So the word him comes next. And then comes preposition. In. Where did she leave him? She left him in, and then there is another noun, New York. So this is another sentence formation. Now, I have said that the word in is a preposition. What else is a preposition? Well, prepositions in general indicate either location or direction. So in this case here, she left him in a particular place. What is the location where she left him? She left him in a location called New York. Or let us say there is a specific name, or it can be a colony name, it can be a place name, it could be anything. So she left him in that particular place. So prepositions generally indicate location, or in some cases preposition indicate direction as well. For example, we can have a sentence like this, over the moon. A sentence that either starts or ends with something like this, over the moon. So here the word over is showing you the direction. So it is exactly telling you where it is, like, up or down, below, or what is it. So the words that suggest such kind of things are also called prepositions. The words like to are also preposition. To the lower. So here we are again talking about a location, to some place. So even the word to is a preposition. And some prepositions even indicate time. For example, in July. So I'm talking about a specific month and I'm using the word in here. So in so and so time. Next, we can even use words like after 8 or before 8. So even those kind of words are called prepositions. You can actually Google search for a list of prepositions. There are a lot, but you will find the most important ones on Google. You can find a list of them. And I hope that you are trying to understand the main point here. Whenever you are framing a sentence, you need to understand the position of a particular part of speech in a particular location. For example, I have seen people write like this as well. And I am talking about beginners in English. I have seen some beginners in English write like this. She left in New York him, something like this. So here it is basically their mother tongue that kind of hinders them, because in their mother tongue sentence formation could be different. the subject verb object positions could be different. But when it comes to English, we have some sentence formation, or we have some sentence structures that we need to follow. So if I write this particular object here, then this sentence would be incorrect. So the correct position of this object is here immediately after the verb. So I once again suggest that you write some essays, and after you finish writing essays, go back and check what kind of mistakes are you doing. Try to check using different sentence formations and see how many mistakes have you done and try to rectify them. And in this case, I want you to try and write as many sentences as possible based on sentence 6. So please write as many examples as possible on sentence 6. That can really help you well in writing appropriate sentences later. So now, and here there is another small point that you can observe. If you can see, we have here she left him in New York. When it is subject, I am using the word she, which is a pronoun. And even here, even this is a pronoun. Even object is pronoun here. But if you can observe, in general, something equivalent to she is he. But am I using the word he here? No. I am using him. The reason behind is there is only one parts of speech in English which changes depending on its position. If I am writing a pronoun as a subject, then it would be something like he, she, it. I, he, she, it. Or I can even say the words like they, you, we. So these are all subject pronouns. But if I am talking about object, I cannot use these words. When it comes to object, the words are different. So instead of writing I would write me. You will still remain you. Instead of writing he, she or it, I would write him, her or it. So please understand, the subject and object pronouns are different. So if I am writing a pronoun in the place of a subject, it would be words like he, she, it, or we, you, they, or I. But if I am trying to write a pronoun in an object, that will be different. So instead of writing I would use me. Instead of you, we don't have any other choice. It is still you. And for he, she, or it, it would be him or her or it. And if I have to use a plural here, then it will be them. And if I have to use a plural of me, then it will be us. So these are the plural forms. Us and them. I hope you have understood, and you can always send me email in case if you did not understand any. I can make a video with better explanation. So let us quickly move ahead to the next topic. As I have mentioned earlier, some people or some students write like this. Observe the sentence one of the students has written. Yesterday around 3 p.m. me with my staff came to your hotel. So here the student shouldn't have written me with my staff, because my staff here is the subject he's talking about. So this is the subject he's talking about, and me is also the subject. Me is also the subject. And when discussing about a subject, he should have written my staff and I. This will be the appropriate subject, because if you remember in the table I said if you need to write subject we have different pronouns, and for object we have different pronouns. Under subject we have pronouns like I, we, you, they, he, she, it. However, for object we have words like me, us, you, them, him, her, it. So in this case here, my staff, so he is talking about what his staff has done. His sentence was that my staff and my staff, he said me and my staff went to a hotel. So here, me is an object pronoun. Me is an object pronoun, whereas staff is a subject noun. So this is not syncing. So instead, he could have said my staff and I, which both are subjects. This is a subject pronoun, and this is a noun. So this is the reason why I am saying that understanding parts of speech is very important. We are going to learn more about pronouns, because pronouns is altogether a different topic and it is a lengthy topic. So we are going to have a lesson completely on pronoun as well. For now, please make a note of this. When you're using something in the place of a subject, you have to ensure that you are using the subject pronoun, not an object pronoun. That's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.